L-A-I-N. I'd have to Google it to see how to spell it. Langulars Index.
That's for so you said pH, calcium.
Calcium hardness, total alkalinity, and pH.
Temperature, you said.
And temperature. Okay. Because perfectly balanced water is not aggressive and it's not scale forming. Well, guess what rainwater is? Even if the pH was perfect, the alkalinity is very, very low, and there's no calcium hardness in it. So naturally, it's going to be aggressive. And this is what it does. This is what aggressive water does to piping. Okay? So PVC is also desirable because it's approved for drinking water. ABS pipe is not. Black ABS pipe on conveyance piping. Now there's a lot of systems out there that have it and nobody's dying, but long term ABS pipe is not approved. If you were to go get a permit on a system, you couldn't do it out of ABS pipe. There's another type of pipe called drain, waste, and vent, which is what these things are designed to be used for. And here's an example. Here's a piece of 4-inch Schedule 40 pipe, and here's a piece of drain, waste, and vent pipe. It's substantially thinner, but also it's not the same diameter. So the fittings that you use for Schedule 40 don't work for drain, waste, and vent. Here's a drain, waste, and vent coupling. Okay? So it's really, really chintzy, in my opinion. So drain, waste, and vent pipe, you can use it, but it's not approved for drinking water. The other thing we do is, this is a PVC fitting. It's a sweep fitting. In our sewer systems, we use sweeps because we're trying to flush toilet paper and solids into the drain system. There's a lot of systems that are done with ABS pipe, the black pipe with sweeps, because that's what it's used for, sewer systems. You can use PVC sweeps, but these fittings, if you're going to go get a permit, are not approved for drinking water. The only fittings that are approved for drinking water are pressure fittings. Okay, PVC pressure fittings, which have a sharp 90-degree bend. Well, guess what? We're not flushing toilet paper. We're not flushing solids. We're taking water off the roof, and they stopped me on a project I had and said, you have to use these fittings. And I explained to them what I was doing, and they said, oh, by code, you're pre-filtering it with your rain head and your first flush, therefore, no problem to run PVC fittings. So municipalities are getting more and more aware of the technology. Most of what I do is Schedule 40, pressure fittings, okay? Now, when you get to irrigation pipe, smaller diameter pipes, oh, by the way, all PVC comes in Schedule 40 and Schedule 80.
What is Schedule 40 or Schedule? Is that the width?
The thickness, see the wall thickness? It's thicker.
Why do they call it Schedule?
I don't know that answer. And I think it actually, I've seen it just abbreviated SCH, so there might be some, but I never knew. I never know why. When we would do commercial swimming pools, they required all the piping and fittings to be Schedule 80. An example, this 90 might cost $3 in Schedule 40. It'll probably cost you $14 in Schedule 80. But the reason they do that is longevity. Pipes, things move. Things flex and things move in the ground. So Schedule 40 really is overkill for what we're doing. You don't really need to use Schedule 80, but I wanted to show you what some of the differences were.
That's the only difference is thickness?
Wall thickness, that's it. That's
and the
it.
color, does 80 usually gray like that?
80's usually gray.
And the white's usually...
But you can get white Schedule 80.
Yep. So the difference of that one, the gray just says it's CPVC.
No, this one isn't.
That one isn't?
Now is
This is CPVC.
Oh, okay.
This is PVC, and we'll talk about that in a second too.
Okay, I thought the gray was always the CPVC.
No, you can get white PVC and gray PVC, and that's the next one on my list. Is so this is.
I have one more question about that. Sorry. Is the threading generally only on Schedule 80? I noticed in the gray water in there on one of the nipples we used Schedule 80, but it was the one that had the threads.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay.
So PVC stands for polyvinyl chloride, and there's all kinds of research that say this stuff is bad. It's bad for the environment because There's chlorine that's used in the manufacturing of it. Unfortunately, chlorine is going to be a part of our life and our society for a long time. Someday we'll get rid of it all, but it's one of those toxins that we deal with. PVC is polyvinyl chloride. CPVC is chlorinated polyvinyl chloride. This will take 212-degree water and it won't deform. This will start to deform around 175 degrees, 160 degrees. And why that's important, we're going to talk about adapting pumps and fittings later. Okay? So there's a hard lesson we learned in the pool industry.